I felt addicted to food for over a decade. And now food is just food. And so in this video, I'm gonna go over how that happened, how I got over feeling addicted to food, and how you can do it too. So if you feel crazy around food, you're gonna wanna watch this. When I was 16 years old, I was affected by diet culture and by media and all the things that we're all affected by. And I thought, I want to lose some weight. And it started off very gently. And I think this is how a lot of people start. Oh, I'm just going to watch what I eat. I started writing down what I was eating in a journal, but not really changing what I was eating too much. Maybe just thinking a little bit more about it of like, oh, I'm going to add some extra vegetables, or okay, I'm gonna have ice cream, but I don't need 2 bowls of ice cream. Something that at the time seemed very sensible. And I started working out by going on my mom's rebounder for 20 minutes a day. Super sweet, gentle things at 16 years old. And so soon, because I was 16, the younger you are, that seems to be the easier it is to lose weight. And the first diet you go on is always the most effective. So I lost a considerable amount of weight in a very fast time frame. And it was being noticed by teachers. I vividly remember, and that's how you know this is such an emotional topic, when you have those pivotal moments that you remember that the person giving you the comment probably didn't remember it an hour later, and I remember it like 20 years later. So I was in class. I had my park on. I live in Canada, so it's very cold. I still had my park on, sitting in class because it was cold. And a teacher said, "Oh, Jenna, you look so good. You've lost weight." And I was like, wow, she could tell with a big puffy jacket on. Like, I must really look so different. This is going so well. This is good. I'm getting so much praise for this. Let's keep going. So then I got a gym membership. Soon I was restricting food more and more. I was never diagnosed with an eating disorder, but looking back, it was definitely not healthy. So I don't know how quickly this happened, but soon enough I was binge eating almost every weekend, and this went on for 10 years. So I modeled overseas. I geared my life more and more to be about the way I looked, which of course does not feel good internally, but it looks good externally. So I was so insecure. I was obsessed with food. And that is really what we're talking about today, is the effects of all of this on your relationship with food, feeling addicted to food, obsessing over food, thinking about it when you wake up, thinking about it all day long, and thinking about it before you go to bed. And so if you're in that pattern, just know you don't have to be in that pattern. That is not normal. That is not just the way it is. You are not weak. You just don't have willpower, or you're disgusting, or you're just so obsessed with food, you're such a glutton. Like, that is not a thing. If you always ate consistently, you had a healthy relationship with food, and your body was well fed, you wouldn't feel this way. And so the good news is it can be shifted. This feeling can be shifted. So I'll go through my house right now and show you the kinds of foods I have in my house that I could never have before. Before, when I was dieting, in my kind of dieting years, about 10 years, if I had a stale box of crackers that I found in the back of the pantry, those were gone. And so to compare the person who felt addicted to food, who thought this is just the way it's going to be for the rest of my life, I can't control myself around food. If I decided to have one bite of that cake, I was eating freaking half that cake. If I decided to have one chocolate, the whole bowl's going to be gone. There was no balance for me. It was not physically possible. But here I am with food everywhere, and it doesn't matter. So how does that happen? So how can that happen for you? So if you're feeling addicted to food right now, the first thing when you Google might be Overeaters Anonymous. Please do not join Overeaters Anonymous. It is so toxic. Their philosophy is to restrict food. But restriction is what got us here in the first place. And some people might identify with that, like, yeah, this all started when I started restricting food and dieting and trying to pursue weight loss, but some people might not. So if you're thinking, no, I've always just eaten tons of food all the time and I'm never in a restrict period, I'm always just binging. It's the same thing, because there's something inside you that's saying, I shouldn't be eating this is so bad. Or maybe you wake up in the morning, I'm gonna be good today. Maybe you eat a healthy breakfast, and then by the time dinner rolls around, or particularly this happens for a lot of people, when everyone's gone to bed and you're alone at night, then you're eating everything in the house. That's a very common pattern, but it's the same thing. So whether your pattern is like every weekend I'm binging or every night I'm binging, I'm just addicted to food, or if you just think about food all the time, you're obsessed with it, but you don't give in, it's all the same thing. It's affecting us in the same way. It's so unhealthy for our mental health, physical health, all of it. But here's the steps you need to take. 1, do not do anything that's going to add more restriction. I know that feels like the solution. Just got to get this food out of here. I just got to not buy it. I just need to avoid this food at all costs. But you know what that ends up with? A life like I had. I would not go out to dinner. Or if I did, I remember going out to dinner with my friends once and I ordered a green tea. Like, that is not healthy. That is disordered eating. That is not good, like having lots of willpower. It's not good. Or if I was going, I would order the biggest, carbiest thing and stuff myself until I felt sick. And that's like my cheat meal. And then I start again the next day. That is not a healthy relationship with food. Your body is not going to like that. And it's actually going to lead to weight gain. So do not restrict. Overeaters Anonymous, stay away. It's not going to help. It's going to flare it up. It's going to make it way, way worse. So what do you do instead? And this can feel really scary. But obviously, we focus a lot on intuitive eating. So I recommend checking that out. But we also, this is our journal, UnDiet Your Mind. We want to work on how we're thinking about food. But that also includes eating the food. And so I'll give an example. And this doesn't have to happen today. So if this is freaking you out, you're like, I can't do this today. It doesn't have to happen today. This is what you're working towards. So say potato chips, that was a huge one for me. Like if I was having one, that bag was gone. Now it's like, if I genuinely want a handful, I'll have a handful and move on. So what do we do to get from there to there? So number 1, allow that food, if in abundance. So if you can, obviously it's a privileged position, if you can buy 5 jumbo bags of chips, get those in your pantry, and that's gonna feel like I'm setting myself up for disaster. But once your body and your mind realize there are so many chips here, and like after a bit, they don't even taste that good, which is fine. We want you to enjoy food. So just bringing it off that pedestal and making it just food. And so if you have an abundance of chips in your house, yes, I'm sure some health person is going to satire this video because we've had that done before about, oh my gosh, can you believe these people think getting food in your house is healthy? Well, that's what I did. And now I can have so much food in my house and I do not overeat very often. I'm not going to say never. If I'm starving and I go for dinner, I might get too full, but it's a very healthy relationship with food. And I eat a wide variety of food. There's fruits and vegetables in there too, and also potato chips, and also smoothies, and also pizza, and also ice cream, and also salads. You can have it all. We feel addicted to food. We're not genuinely addicted to food, which is a good thing. That means you can heal this a lot faster. That means you can heal this in a way where food is just relaxed. You don't have to fight it for the rest of your life. Because other addictions, you may need to fight that urge and fight that kind of backsliding the rest of your life, and that is exhausting. You do not have to do that with food. You can repair your relationship with food in a way where it's genuinely calm. Like I said, I could live in a grocery store, I don't care. It's the same as being in my house with food that I bought. I mean, it'd be actually awesome because then I could eat what I truly want all the time, and that's gonna look very normal. It's gonna look very balanced, and it's gonna feel good. How freeing is it to be a grown-ass person who can be around food and not feel like a kid out of control in a candy store? Like, that is really disempowering when you're like, I can't be trusted beside a bowl of chocolates. Like, we want to heal that. So you really, truly can heal to a level where it's a non-issue. So do not add more restriction and add abundance, particularly of a food that gives you trouble. So if you're thinking, wow, those potato chips give me so much trouble, get an abundance in your house and allow yourself to eat them. So one little tip that might sound extreme, but we recommend it, is to just get a bowl of chips and put it with every single meal you eat at home. Obviously, you don't have to bring that out with you if you go out. But imagine having a bowl of chips with your breakfast, a little bowl of chips, and it doesn't have to be huge. Just get like a cereal bowl and put some chips in it and just show your brain and your body, hey, these are always here. Soon they get a little bit boring. It's like, well, I don't want that with my oatmeal, thank you very much. But still put them in that bowl. You can put them back in the bag after. That might sound like a silly exercise, but it's gonna make a difference. And you're gonna find, say, you can do that for a week. And maybe you eat that bowl of chips at every meal. It's not gonna kill you, but it will heal your relationship with food as a first step. Obviously, we recommend a lot of mindset work. We have an app, we have journals, we have one-on-one coaching, so we definitely recommend further support, but this is a great first step. So normalizing your binge foods is gonna help. You're gonna realize you think about the food less, you're gonna realize you binge on it less. You might be eating it as much, but in a healthier, more even way, and that will dissipate over time. In a year from now, you're not gonna be eating chips with every meal, I promise you that. You might be eating them every day. I eat chocolate every day. I don't eat chips every day anymore. But I'll definitely put them with something. You'll really figure out what works for your body. Like for me, some chips on the side of like a lunch is delicious, or like with other things for a snack, but just a big bowl of chips does not make me feel good. And so you'll find the same for yourself of what works for me, what feels good for me, while still allowing all the food. Do this experiment where you have a little bowl of, it could be a little, we've had a client do a little bowl of like a scoop of ice cream with every meal. It gets boring, I promise you. It gets boring. You do not always want ice cream with every meal. It really starts to go, no thanks. And that's cool. And sometimes you will want it, right? Sometimes you won't, but having it available to you consistently is gonna bring it from being like an obsession and then a binge in the evening to just a food that you can eat if you want, and you don't have to if you don't want to. And that might feel really out of reach as someone who may be still restricting or coming off of restriction. That might feel like, no, if I let myself eat ice cream, I'm never gonna stop. But that is because you've been restricting it. It's so confusing, I know, because I was confused. For a decade, I was just trying to keep the food away until I couldn't, binging, starting over again. And I really did come to a place where I couldn't do that anymore. I could not do one more of those cycles. I was burnt out. And so I just said to myself, I guess I'm just gonna have to eat food because this isn't working. And it really worked. Like, it's amazing how just going, I'm gonna eat. Frees your brain up to live your life, frees your brain up to be present, frees your brain up to like talk to people and not have its little numbers taking away in your brain. What did I eat? Well, what can I order for lunch? Like, imagine just silence instead of all the mental chatter about food and your body and what you shouldn't have eaten and what you should eat and that food that you're gonna have later, and then you binge on it. It's exhausting. So you can really get rid of that food addiction, that feeling of food addiction, and we're here for you to help. So definitely subscribe, follow along. We will give you more and more tips to bridge the gap between feeling obsessed with food, feeling like you're addicted to food, to that end goal that I was talking about, where you truly can feel like you can live in a grocery store and it won't affect how you eat. You're just gonna eat freely, and you're gonna eat by listening to your body. So it doesn't matter what food's around you. And that is so empowering. So I hope this has helped. Comment below. I'm sure we'll get some controversial comments, but I'd love to know what you think. If you've tried this before, if you've tried Overeaters Anonymous and how that went, give us some feedback and we can talk more about this. We can do more videos about this if you're interested in learning more, or if you have questions. If you have more questions about food addiction, put those below. Comments, concerns, excitement about this idea, because it is exciting. It's like, oh, I can actually eat food and that's going to heal me. I don't have to be like restrictive and limited for the rest of my life. It's kind of exciting when you think about it, because it can feel really, really good. So I'll see you next week and talk to you later. Bye.